Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Scaling Brokerage podcast. Today, Rachel's been kind enough to bless us some of her time and share some of her experiences, not only as a real estate, as a broker owner, but also as an attorney. So she'll get to share a little bit about her kind of dual perspective on real estate and transacting as a whole, I should say. But I'll kick it right off to Rachel and let her tell us a little bit about herself and her business.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. So, hi everyone, I'm Rachel Lamar. I am an independent broker, so I own my own small little boutique agency. I'm also an attorney. I practiced real estate law, general contract law, family law, and just general civil litigation for years before I then left to raise a family. This was many years ago. And at that point, after they were old enough to kind of be in school, my kids, I thought, I want to do something that gives me more freedom, right?
Yeah.
So I went into real estate, but the funny thing is it actually was busier, but and it was 2003 and I went into real estate and I started kind of with a corporate real estate firm. And then I ended up very quickly switching over to the first internet real estate company at that time, and internet based. Yeah, it was Zip Realty. So remember them. So I quickly rose up in the ranks because I just worked that system and it was phenomenal, and became the top agent in San Diego County, and ended up teaching a lot of classes to agents as well on contracts and things like that, and working with the CEO to try to revitalize the employee contract and all kinds of things. So, and then after that, I left. I bounced around a little bit to boutique agency, but back into corporate. And then in 2010, I opened my own my own boutique firm. So been doing that for 15 years and love it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, hey, California is a very competitive market. So, that speaks volumes, that you were able to kind of rise amongst the ranks over there in such a, heavy densely populated area of agents. So that's awesome. That's awesome. You're able to do that. And that's awesome. You've been, independent now for 15 years. Tell us a little bit about how did you get started? And what was kind of that first step like from going, to maybe working under someone else's brokerage or under their firm to, owning your own?
Well, like I said, I think I just was trying to find something where I wasn't in a law office all day, and that's how I got started. And my mom had done real estate for many, many years in Los Angeles, and she was one of the biggest agents back in the day. And I always swore I'll never do that. It was very different then. We didn't have the internet, and she was always on the phone and driving around with these, maps to find where she was going. And anyways, so, but I thought, hey, I'd be good at that, and just kind of started. And then, like I said, I bounced around to different, and people always said to me, why aren't you on your own? Why, you're a broker, you're an attorney, why are you working for this company? And I questioned that too. And I remember once I got called I was in a corporate firm and a real estate agency, into the office, and I was told, you need to come to the meetings, and you need to and you didn't sell that much this last month. And I just thought to myself, I don't need to go to the meetings. I am self-starter. I'm type A personality. I don't I mean, that's great for some people. Some people need that, but I just I just do it. And so I finally bit the bullet, or took the first step, however you want to say it. And I went out and never looked back. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and sometimes that is the hardest part, just getting started, taking that first step into kind of the unknown in most cases. So it's awesome that you were able to do so. And then, for, like I said, for the past 15 years, I have been able to, continue and sustain in doing so. Well, tell us a little bit about, I know it sounds like post, or I guess that would be just about the time that, 2008, 2009 happened. And the stock market, housing market, everything kind of, imploded. What did you have any kind of initial struggles getting started, just kind of right after all that had happened there in the industry?
I actually didn't, because I built up such a large client database when I was with that internet-based company that I took all that with me. And to this day, as far as marketing goes, my number one source of marketing, I do, I have a sphere of influence. I have a system. I have emails going out every month. But the number one thing that I put all of my time and effort into is just nurturing the relationships. And I would say that I have probably about 90% of my sales and deals, if you want to call them, I don't like that word, but come from my clients, my former clients, either repeat or referral, which is fantastic. So it wasn't hard for me to get get started because I already had that base. So I think it's obviously different for someone new coming in,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, but I just love my clients, and I just closed a sale last week, and I went over to visit my clients, and they put their arms around me, the husband and the wife, and the 3 kids were like around us, and they said, "Can we pray for you?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, that's just like, it was the sweetest thing." And they just said the most beautiful words and thanked me. And that's what it's all about. That's why I do it. 22 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that definitely has to give, if some more, inspiration, some more motivation, than maybe, on the legal side. I know that
Mm,
could probably be a bit more daunting, a bit more, really, outcome based, as far as how everything
yeah.
turns out. Tell us a little bit about what is it? What was that like? The transition, being in both, having your license to practice law, and then at the same time, having your broker license.
How much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
So wow, that's a great question. I think for me, it's always and continues to be, but I have backed off a little bit, a little difficult, because I see things from that legal perspective with that legal eye, and I see a lot of major mistakes in this industry by agents. And I think that's the most difficult thing for me, because I see it on a weekly basis, and I see people saying things, doing things that could end up causing legal problems, right? So I think I'm blessed to have that vision, and my clients love it, especially my investor clients, because there's no emotion involved. It's all about numbers and negotiating.
yeah,
But I think for me, that's been the biggest challenge, and really. A couple things. One is that I see a lot of agents, when they present offers on my listings, people don't proofread their contracts. So it's fill in
yeah,
the blank, right?
yeah.
But they don't read what they did. And I get these and I'm thinking, really? I'm representing your client. And I've experienced agents. I mean, this is, people, you need to read. You need to also, I think a lot of agents have never really read through the RPA. And I can tell that because when we have conversations, they'll say something and I'll say, that's in the RPA, so I
Yeah.
think we need better training in this industry. And I've tried to fight for that for years and finally just got tired of doing it. But they did just change the test. So I haven't seen the new test, but I think we need a lot more than that. I think we need some really good education. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I know a lot of, team leaders, brokerage owners, they can be huge. And, getting those agents in their first steps, kind of showing
Yeah.
them the ropes, in terms of, how to, be more, law abiding, when transacting, or maybe even know their contracts.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever, or have you ever worked with any agents, or maybe trained any agents in the past that, that you kind of got to see that transition happen from them maybe not knowing much to taking them to, producing?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've had 3 agents over the 15 years, because I really love being independent. And like I said, I'm type A. So with all 3, they were phenomenal and they learned so much. And I I was probably, I mean, they all say you were the best broker, but I made them, before anything went out, I reviewed it. And I really think that in order for us to prevent the massive numbers of lawsuits in this profession, which go up every year, and most are
Yeah.
based on negligence, right? I think that brokers need to have that oversight. And so when you're a broker of, let's say, a team, or not a team, but just a huge corporate brokerage, and you have hundreds of agents under you, that's hard to do. So I don't know. I think, and those agents all went off and found their own, and one moved away, one went into something else. But for me, it was really great because I was able to teach, and I love doing that, and just really teach on the law. But it is a lot of work, even for 3
Yeah.
agents. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is that was kind of, I wouldn't say, pushed you away from, but maybe just stopped you from wanting to bring on, more agents, just how much time and how much effort, you have to put into getting them up to speed there?
And no, it didn't push me away. I mean, I'm always, if someone's interested in working with me and learning the ropes and, all of that, I'm more than happy to do that. In fact, when I get super busy, I sometimes wish that I had somebody, I do have people who help me out, but from other agencies and stuff. But I wouldn't mind having the right person, somebody who's willing to learn and wants to be their best legally, and understanding
So
things. I'd be open to that. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and just curious, have you ever done anything, and maybe with one of the other brokerages you worked for in the past or anything, have you ever done anything in terms of like recruiting systems, like attracting agents into the brokerage there?
Not really.
Or is it,
I
you're
mean,
just
I've
curious?
been with brokerages that had systems, yes. But I think I don't know. You get comfortable in when something works and you get comfortable in that, right? And then there's really, I mean, yes, I adapt. And if something comes out and everyone says, oh, this is the greatest thing, you need to use this, you need to implement this, I'll definitely take a look at it. I'm not this
Yeah.
old, monster who's just going to stick with, but I also, I'm a firm believer in if something's working, you continue to do that. And then you just add the new if needed. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
open.
If it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
tell us, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of brokerage owners, I should say, that are just getting started in today's market. What
Mhm.
kind of advice would you have for them? What would be, kind of their best first steps to getting started there?
So that's another great question. I think it's hard to get started in this industry today, right? Because there are so many of us, and there are a lot of people who've been doing it for a long time and make it work. I think if you're a new agent in this industry, I would recommend a few things. First of all, I think maybe looking at a team or finding someone who's, like me or someone who's really going to train you is a great way to go. But make sure to get that training because it's so important. And especially training in the contracts,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's where most of the lawsuits come from. And then also, what I recommend, and this is kind of old school, but I did this back in 2003 when I first started, and it made a huge difference. I hand wrote letters to everyone I knew
Oh yeah.
and said, hey, I'm stepping down from practicing law and I'm doing this now. And I sent them out. And I know that's like, again, very old school and you can do it via email or however, but
Yeah.
I still think there's nothing like receiving a letter handwritten. It just shows that you care
Yeah.
and just tell everybody what you're doing, you know? So hopefully it'll bring somebody to you to get started with.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, and I couldn't agree with you more. Having that personal touch in any sense of reaching out, in any sense of communicating in terms of real estate, really goes a long way. Because
Yeah.
there are so many that don't have any kind of personal touch too. How they outreach or how they get in front of agents, potential buyers, sellers.
Mhm.
So it definitely does make a big difference. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
wanted to backtrack a little bit. I know you mentioned, not having to do a ton for lead gen since, kind of since you built that, initial really strong core there and having all the referrals and things coming from there. Have you ever had to do anything to just, like have it been slower times in the market, anything like that, where you've looked at, kind of some additional ways to bring in more leads?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have. And I think, again, I go back to that, like calling clients, meeting with them, lunches, coffees. I mean, I've
Yeah,
been doing a lot of that lately, which is really fun, but also social media and just kind of
yeah,
sharing what I'm doing. And there's been times where I've, been so busy that I've stepped back from that. And I think for me, I need to stay with that. I started doing a bunch of little legal shorts on TikTok and I don't know, they were doing okay on Instagram, but I don't know. I mean, I look for things that I can do where I can share my knowledge, which is a little bit different from the average agent, and also share my experiences as an agent, broker, owner, attorney, and
yeah.
just see how I can help people. Cause that to me is, the best part of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I understand. And just curious, and that's a little more kind of off the side, off the wall question. But has it ever made it harder for you to do transactions with other agents, anyone in the industry, just knowing, what you know on the legal side of things?
I actually think it makes it easier because it allows me to better represent my
Oh
clients
yeah.
when I see that something isn't being done the way it should be, or to protect, like if I've had, I mean, I'm not trying to, pat myself on the back, but I've had a lot of transactions where I've had to do another agent's job as well as my own. And that's frustrating.
Oh yeah.
But, I am lucky that I can see those things because it allows me to protect my clients. So yeah,
100%.
yeah.
100%. 100%. Well, and let the people know as well, Rachel. Where can they get in touch with you? They're interested in anything you mentioned. Maybe interested in the law side or in the real estate side of things.
Mhm.
Where can they get in touch with you? Where can they find you at, like on social media or anything there?
Yeah. So my website is lamarrealestate.org, and that's LAMAR realestate.org. And on Instagram, I'm at Real Rachel Lamar, lots of L's. And also on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, Rachel Lamar. And I have a Facebook page as well, Lamar Real Estate. And what did I leave out? Did I leave out anything?
No, I mean, I think that should cover most of it. And if we miss anything too, we can always add it to the link down below. But we'll
Okay.
have everything linked down below there for you guys. Rich, was there anything that I missed that you'd like to mention? I know, having the law side, or having, the legal side and the real estate side is definitely an interesting combo. Was there anything else you'd like to touch on before we send it off there?
No, I think just like I said, this is a great industry and there's a lot of potential to be a great leader in this industry. So if people have in their mind and in their heart the desire to truly help others and not just like, I'm going to make money, it's all about the money. It's not just selling a house, it's helping people. And this is a legal transaction. So you're not just selling a widget. You've got to be careful and you've got to know your stuff. So that would be my advice. And so other than that, it's great place to be.
I love it. Definitely something that, a lot of successful brokerage owners, a lot of successful business owners like yourself, have in common. Having the people's interest, having our clients, our members' interest, in mind first, and not just having them be, another sale or another notch on the belt. It makes a big difference in it, and it really does go a long way, especially like you mentioned, in terms of referrals, building that bridge. We never know. I know we talk about that a lot, but you never know who's going to come across the bridge, friends, family, coworkers. So yeah, having that, having that good first impression and really, doing our best to, do the best for them, goes a long way in their eyes and for them as well. So glad you touched on that. And like I said, something that I think a lot of successful people like yourself have in common there, especially in the real estate industry.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, of course. This is really fun. And again, guys, we'll have everything linked down below. So if you're interested in getting in touch with Rachel, have any questions for her, we'll have everything linked down below there for you guys. But thanks again for coming out today, Rachel. I appreciate it.
Thank you.